It's like, no, the lesson here is like, you can get as good as you want to get.
Amen.
So it's you against you. So how about enjoy seeing how good you can get?
Right.
And then whatever happens. But let's have a growth mindset. Like let's get better because it's fun to get better.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jackie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Okay, and we are back.
Here we are.
Yes, here we are. So, what is this topic?
I'm excited about this one.
Okay.
Today we're going to chat about how to reset without quitting parenting burnout.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. This is a topic that I think is so interesting because how many parents have said, like, I quit. I'm done. And like, clearly you're not. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you felt like you wanted to throw in the towel?
Yeah.
And be done with parenting because maybe you feel like you're not doing it well, or your kids aren't thriving, or you feel guilt, or you're doing the comparison game, or whatever it may be. And I was just talking to Greg about this because we had some situations this year with one of our kiddos, and nothing more than we can handle. That's not it, but just where almost like the amount of time we feel like we've put into her hasn't equal to where we think she should be in all areas of her life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how I would best explain it. Whether it's maturity or whether it's even just responsibility.
Yeah.
Or
emotional stability.
All these things just kind of, and I feel like through the years we've tried to work on it with her, but this year just kind of came to another like point where it's like, we just really aren't where we feel like we should be. And I try really hard as a parent not to compare it to our other kiddos. You know what I mean? Because again, you said in the previous one, everyone has different personalities,
Yep.
different seasons of life,
Yep.
different needs.
And the challenge is they're comparing themselves
All the time.
without anybody else saying anything. That's natural for all of us to do.
All of us do. And
Yep.
I think it's especially hard in our house when like the standards are very high.
Mm-hmm. And we're very public.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
We do this.
Yes.
We are always working with other people. People see our lives nonstop. So it's like, there is a level of outside pressure of people watching all the time. Yeah.
And some kids take it better than others.
Mm-hmm.
And so for one of ours, we just went through a season, and it was interesting because it kind of came to a point at one point where a situation happened where our little one, she made a decision to not really use her common sense, and ended up kind of in a situation where, she was in danger.
Mm-hmm.
She was in danger. And, it's so funny. Greg happened to be traveling during this day. And it's like, I don't, like it never really does happen. We all say, oh yes, when the kid needed to go to the hospital because they broke their arm, the dad was traveling for work, or like, it just feels like that. It's not always the case, but
It's happened quite a bit though.
It does. And I don't want to then go on this tangent like, well, then never go away for a business trip. That's not the case.
Abby on the zip line getting stitches on her forehead.
15 stitches later.
I was somewhere. I was in Florida, I think.
Greg was traveling.
Yeah.
We had just moved to a new town. We were at our first play date. And we were literally leaving in 2 minutes, like, hey, last person on the zip line. And it was a homemade zip line. I was there. I was even holding other kids. It was like this horrible situation where it's like I let go of her thinking she had it. And the zip line went straight up her head. And Greg was, out of town. And I'm trying to find a hospital. And unfortunately, my stomach's not the one that would naturally take on this.
Oh, you went to Frozen and Drew put his tooth through his lip, pretty much.
The chair flew up. Those chairs that.
I was in town. I just wasn't with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I met you at the hospital later.
I traveled like an hour and a half, all proud of myself that I took the majority of our kids.
Yeah.
And
you had 5 little kids.
It didn't even start, and Drew needed stitches in his lip. It actually was not his tooth. It was a seat. He fell down. Anyways.
Yeah.
it does. Things do happen when dad's not around. I don't know why that is, but in this
Other than
situation,
the popcorn thing up the nose, I was actually there, and you wouldn't even.
I'll let you explain that
You
one.
wouldn't even come in the ER. You're like, oh no, you're up for this one.
Well, you need to back up. Greg and I were proud of ourselves. This is like when we had 5 kids, like I think 5 and under at that point. You know what I mean? And we finally found a good movie that was a cute little movie that we were like in our local little like
theater.
cinema. And we were like proud of ourselves. We're going to take all of our kids to the movie theater. I think they're old enough to sit. You know, I think our youngest at the time was like 1, but she was really like a joiner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We get there, we're proud of ourselves. We have popcorn for the kids and all this stuff. The credits didn't even start. And my son looks at me and is literally like, oh my gosh, Mom, I have a popcorn in my nose. And I'm like, why? I tried to get it out, wouldn't go out. We had to go to the ER and have it come out. So
And
it
I
did come
remember
out.
you wouldn't even get out of the car though.
Well, I
You're
was
like,
just
you're
maxed.
going in.
Yes.
You're going. Like,
Because typically
it was like you're home
Yes.
for this one, so you're gonna handle it. And I
was-
did.
It was a lot like that.
Which is a whole nother story we'll tell another time. But
God is so good.
That's a really
He
gross
is so
story.
good to
Yeah.
me. Sometimes he just shows up in ways I didn't know.
okay.
He meets me where I'm at.
All right. Anyways.
What
When
was the topic?
I don't remember where you were going with this.
It wasn't about the popcorn episode.
No, you were talking. Well, you were talking about emotional stability.
Oh, yes, and about quitting parenting. And so there was a situation where literally, so Greg was out of town, the situation happened, you know, and I'm trying to navigate it with our kid. And the moral of the story is that, you know, it was kind of like one of those moments where like, you know, Greg's out of town, the situation came where she had put herself in danger. And I'm kind of like, I think I'm kind of done with parenting. Like, I think, like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but clearly something, because how did we get to this place, you know? And you and I had chatted a little bit that night just to kind of walk through it. And you were like, okay, well, I see this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay. And I mean, obviously we were all safe at home, so we had time to reflect on the situation. But it made me realize how many times that truly, like, parents can get to a point that they just feel like they can't do it anymore. And when it was the younger ages, you felt like it because you were tired or you were healing or you were, you know, the early motherhood stages for me were really hard because you didn't really know what you were doing. But at least you were in control, I felt, a little bit of the situation. But when the big world becomes so heavy and your kids are part of it, it does get a little overwhelming. You think, am I cut out for this? Should I sign up for this? Right? And you can't quit. Right? And this is why I think it's so important to make sure that, you know, you do have the strong people around you to walk you through different situations, you know? So if you're sitting there today and you're thinking to yourself, no, I'm in that situation. You know, I'm at a situation where it's like, I don't know what's going on right now with my kids sometimes. Like their thought process or their emotional stability or their lack thereof, or they're not using their common sense or whatever the case may be. I want to let you know you're not alone, number one. And number two, there is always going to be, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to get there. And sometimes that season is longer than you would ever want it to be. In the past, you know, our children would misbehave. We could discipline them and it was over within 30 seconds. Now you're walking through things that might take weeks, months, or a year to process through. And to know that that's okay. That's part of parenting.
Yeah.
And not to just throw in the towel.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And, you know, for me, I think it's probably more along the sports line right now. You know, life has a lot of sports in it. And, you know, I've had a level of frustration of trying to get kids to practice individually more.
Right.
So that way, when they're actually playing, they are playing at their potential. And instead of being disappointed, they got overlooked for a starting spot or whatever. And it's like this really weird balance, you know, because here we are, we're in the stands, and it's easy to get kind of mad at the coach for not picking your kid to do this that other people got to do or whatever, you know, or you didn't make the A team, you made the B team instead, and you know they're capable of being on the A team, but in order to get on the A team, they're going to have to practice outside of practice.
Right.
And you explain this stuff to them, but then they're not doing it, and you start, you almost start questioning yourself, like, am I doing this wrong? And I've just had to get myself back to just remembering even, okay, why are we doing sports, right? Because you can put a lot of pressure on yourself. Like, man, I'm spending all this money, right? We are competitive people. We always expect to like be really good at stuff. We expect to be the starters. We expect that, there's some people probably out there are probably like, well, I'd like my kid to get some kind of a scholarship or something.
Sure.
And they're putting, pressure on themselves for that. So they're going through youth sports is even crazy right now, where it's different than even we grew up, where now you want to play baseball. Well, you need a $400 bat, and you got to go on these travel leagues, and you're going to be spending this much money, and it's a heavy burden. And so then there's pressure for the parent to feel like, if I'm investing all this, then you better perform. But why do kids even get in sports? It's because they want to have fun. Now, winning is part of it.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
But hanging out with their friends and being social and enjoying it. Like, kids didn't start playing sports from the beginning just because all I want to do is win.
Oh, yeah.
They started because they want to have fun. And so you have to have this balance of, how do I keep the fun in this without putting the pressure of it has to be all about winning or perfecting or whatever. And it's just really challenged me. It really has. I felt like, quite frankly, last year, I kind of felt like I wasn't leading the way I need to, or I wasn't communicating the way I need to. And I've just gotten back to, the reality is, what I want the kids to learn is, I want them to learn what a growth mindset is versus like a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is more, well, this is just as good as I am at something, so I'm just going to go, quote unquote, have fun. It's like, no, the lesson here is like, you can get as good as you want to get.
Amen.
So it's you against you. So how about enjoy seeing how good you can get?
Right.
And then whatever happens. But let's have a growth mindset. Like, let's get better because it's fun to get better at stuff.
Right. And the fact that I'm really going to do my best so I can feel proud of myself.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it is in anything I'm teaching the kids, whether it's sports, of course, and having conversations with them with that, whether it's grades or anything to do with school, whether it's friendships, whether it's whatever. Can we be the best version of ourselves when we do this? Mm-hmm. And if we do, then we walk away knowing I tried my best, and if in this season, my best for this sport was not A team, but it was B team, but it was, the very best on the B team with the best attitude and the most energy and the most whatever, then you can walk away feeling good about yourself.
That's right.
But if you kind of came and you were like, like the coach didn't like me, everybody excluded me, like, what's wrong with those people?
Yeah.
That's not, I'm going to take ownership and do the best I can do.
Yeah.
Because honestly, in the world today, we can't, there's going to be always somebody that didn't like you, doesn't want you to succeed,
for sure.
Whatever the case may be.
For sure.
And we can't be in that mindset.
Yeah.
But I do think too, like you said, as parents, we have to retool our brains. When after we do some reflection, which is good, by the way, and again, I encourage everyone to have somebody that can walk you through it and be a different perspective. Whenever I come to Greg or Greg comes to me, we are the hardest on ourselves. I'm typically like, I really failed here. I did this. I cannot believe this. This never should happen. I'm like really hard on myself about stuff and vice versa, and, I need him to remind me, like, hold on. This is one situation out of about 1 million you deal with in just a week. Like, you're excellent in this, this, and this. How can we, though, turn this around? How can we fix this so that it doesn't happen again? How can we get on the right track with stuff? But let's not go down the path that, like, you're not a good parent or quote unquote, right? And same thing for you. If you're like, I just don't understand why they're not where, I've worked. Okay, hon, like, they're way further than you realize. Yeah. I think you're beating yourself up a little bit. Yeah. And to remind, you need that kind of stuff. You don't need to be going to a friend that's like, yeah, I know, I'm failing at it too, so let's fail together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's not healthy for anybody.
Have a couple lifelines that you can trust when you're feeling like, I think I'm losing here.
Yes.
And they can look in the eyes and remind you, like, listen, you're a really good parent. You're doing a really good job.
Yes.
You're not perfect, but some of these lessons are lessons that you put your kid on a path and they have to learn them. You can't learn them for them. You need people like that to be able to, speak into you positively versus like, oh, like you said, like, oh my gosh, I'm going through the same thing and this is awful. And I think my kid's going to, do this and probably quit this. And, who knows what their future, like, and, there's people like that. And you just gotta stay away from that.
It can be friends. It can even be family that are like, that maybe they're just not supposed to do it. Maybe you're putting too much pressure on them.
Maybe they should just quit.
Yep. And I just think we should all be careful for that because otherwise, you go down the wrong path.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're not quitting parenting.
No, we're not quitting parenting.
We suggest other people shouldn't.
No.
Also.
No. You can't return them.
But if you need a lifeline, this is another good thing, though. Who are your go-tos?
Yeah.
Do you have any quotes written down that you remind yourself of?
That's good.
When you're going through tough things. I mean, I got a whiteboard over there on the wall in my office here that I'm just starting to stack quotes that mean something to me. So that way, when you're in the middle
Situations
of it,
happen.
and I just go stand over there and look at it, and I'm just like, okay, reminder. And so for all your parents out there, what? Don't quit. Keep going. It's gonna be. You're gonna have seasons.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be a high. Sometimes there's going to be some lows, but just keep doing your best. And it's like, I've always learned this, that, what faith is, it's like God won't do for you what you can do, but he will always do for you what you can't.
That's good.
And so if you just put yourself out there and do everything you can in faith, he takes over and takes care of the rest after that. And I think we got to live by that as parents.
Amen.
So, all right. Love you.
Love you.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.